Hello, I am SquidofLove, welcome back. We have taken a very good look at most of the weapon categories in 2.6 and we know now how most of the weapons work in this new patch, what is working and what is not working. So before we go ahead and take a look at the rest of the categories, I thought it would be nice to share some interesting and fun to use weapon loadouts, weapon combinations with your Super Hornet in order to have fun in the Arena Commander and the Persistent universe. The Super Hornet is a very strong and reliable space superiority fighter, but also because of the hardpoints it has and the size of these hardpoints, it gives us the option to experiment with different weapons and create some interesting and unique loadouts. When we are creating a loadout, there are some things that we must have in mind, like what kind of loadout we want to create, a laser, ballistic or mixed loadout, and what is the purpose of that loadout. Are we trying to have high DPS or just raw damage going for the alpha strike? One of the most important factors for me personally when creating a loadout is the projectile velocity of the weapons. I always try to use weapons that have the same projectile velocity or at least very close one to each other, and this is because in that way we can achieve one targeting pip. This will make our life a lot easier and it will be easier to use all of our weapons at the same time. So let's go ahead and take a quick look at some weapon combinations I have created for the Super Hornet in 2.6. My goal has been to use weapons with the same projectile velocity or at least as close as possible one to each other and the highest size weapon in every hardpoint. In our first combination we are going to use only Tarantula weapons and create a ballistic loadout. We are going to use 3 size 3 Tarantula that have a projectile velocity at 1710 meters per second and their damage is at 200, and 2 size 2 Tarantula that have a projectile velocity at 1700 meters per second, almost identical, and their damage is at 100. With their projectile velocity being almost identical, it's very easy to use these weapons together and create a nice loadout. This is my primary ballistic loadout for 2.6, especially since the 11-6 broadsword are not that good anymore. The Tarantula Mark III have replaced them in this loadout, and its goal is raw damage mostly. You can achieve up to 800 damage with these 5 weapons when you are firing at your targets, and it can later be turned into a decent DPS loadout if the fight continues for longer. A very strong ballistic loadout that can have some great results. We will continue with ballistic loadouts, but this time we are going to create high DPS loadouts, and for this we are going to use 3 size 3 Mantis GT220 plus 2 size 2 Sawbucks, and this is the only time we can see the Sawbucks being used because they are not that good, they don't have very good stats to be used alone, but they seem to be perfect if you combine them with other high DPS weapons. Both of these weapons have the same projectile velocity at 1222 meters per second and the same damage at 32. The Mantis has the best rate of fire and DPS at 60 seconds in the size 3 category, and the Sawbuck has the second best rate of fire in the size 2 category, so using them together you can create a very powerful and deadly loadout. The only problem with this loadout is that you will have to be very careful with your aim, or else you are going to waste a lot of ammo. It is a very good combination if you are after high DPS loadouts. If creating a ballistic loadout with high DPS is your goal, then it can get much better. We are going to keep the 3 Mantis GT220 and we are going to add a size 4 Apocalypse Arms Revenant Ballistic Gatling. Its projectile velocity is at 1180 meters per second, not the same as the Mantis but quite close. Its damage is at 44, but its rate of fire is at 1300 shots per minute. A deadly combination that can decimate pretty much everything in front of you thanks to the very good rate of fire that both of these weapons have, the Mantis GT220 and the Apocalypse Arms Revenant, and of course thanks to the insane DPS they can achieve together. The same problem with the previous loadout remains, so you will have to be very careful with your aim in order to not waste ammo. What about some laser loadouts? We can use 3 Panther repeaters, size 3 Panther repeaters, and 1 size 4 M6A laser cannon in order to create a very strong laser loadout. Their projectile velocity is at 1297 meters per second for the Panther repeater and at 1178 meters per second for the M6A laser cannon. Not the same, but definitely close enough to use both of these weapons without any real problem. They both have some very good damage, 95 for the Panther repeaters and 270 for the M6A laser cannon. So that means that we can achieve a damage up to 555 with these four weapons. It is a very strong combination if you are looking for a laser loadout, and despite the fact that the difference in projectile velocity is obvious when we are a bit farther from our target, when we are getting closer it is not much of a problem. We can use these two different weapons together and destroy our opponent easily. It is a very strong loadout with high damage and decent DPS, and you also don't have to worry about replenishing your ammo. Unfortunately, the other lasers in size 2 and size 1 category don't have a projectile velocity close to the Panther repeaters, so despite the fact that you can use them like this, it is going to be a bit problematic, it is going to be a bit confusing with having two targeting pips. So let's go ahead and take a look at a couple of mixed loadouts using the Panther repeaters. In the first one we are using 3 Panther repeaters and an Apocalypse Arrows Revenant Ballistic Gatling. We can have very good firepower with this combination, and I do like the Apocalypse Arms Revenant. It is a very strong weapon against the hull of our targets, which we can attack and damage while we are destroying the shields of our enemies with the Panther repeaters. In the second mixed combination we are using again 3 Panther repeaters with 2 Sawbucks, and I have to say surprisingly this was the most fun, the most entertaining combination and quite effective as well. It seems that the Sawbuck, although not a good weapon to be used alone, it is an excellent choice if you can combine it with other decent weapons, with specific weapons like the Mantis or the Panther repeater. And I do prefer this combination more than the Mantis and the Sawbucks because it is easier to use and also more forgiving if you make some mistakes. If you are looking for a gimbal loadout, then I would recommend you to use 5 Sledge 2 mass driver cannons or 5 Tarantula GT870. You can even go with 5 Strife mass drivers for the raw damage if you want and if you like this weapon. These were some weapon combinations for the Super Hornet 2.6 for different loadouts for different purposes, and I hope that you can experiment with all of them or with those that you prefer and have fun. Obviously you can use every weapon in the game, not only the ones I've shown you, in order to create a unique and interesting loadout and have fun in the game. Create something that will suit your playstyle the most. So which one is your favorite combination in the game right now? Please let us know, I would love to hear your opinion. Thank you very much for joining me. If you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more. I am SquidofLove and I will see you around the verse. Bye bye.